America is built on pride and prejudice. Point blank. I'm not down. We grew up in it. We live in it. That's the reality.
You said
But that's what
you said it's built on pride and prejudice.
pride and prejudice. Because
No in between.
no. I'm gonna break it down. No in between.
Mm.
All right. And I'm not knocking it because, like I said, if you can get yours, I'm not mad at you. I'm like this.
Mm.
When you come in, all right, you took an indigenous people, and what did you do to the indigenous people?
Mm.
You say, you know what? I understand y'all want to live here and there and so forth because they fought slavery. But I said the biggest injustice was to the indigenous people of this country because they lived freely and roamed freely, and then someone decided to come and say, no, this is ours. That's like somebody coming to your house and knocking on your door and say, you know what? It's mine now. You know
Mm.
what? I'm going to give you that room in the back, and that's yours. You know. But hey, that's what the
So they're
reservation
gonna
is.
come. They're gonna come into your house and say, "I'm gonna give you that room back there."
Yeah, but see,
Maybe I may give you
maybe
that.
yeah, but that is what that's what the reservation.
And ladies and gentlemen, the beginning of the Funk Lounge Talk Theater. That was Mr. Dan McCullum from After Six Productions, and that gives you a little bit of what we talked about. Great conversation, man. He's the partner of Mr. Doug Ramsey, Mr. R&B Doug Ramsey. Yes, but yeah, man, that was Mr. Dan McCullum, and he was on our last episode. So stay tuned for him. Now let's get into Mr. Mose Davis. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Funk Lounge Talk Theater, and this is episode 7. And man, I want to thank my guests. I want to thank the people on the internet, man. I want to thank Funktropolis, Mr. Dan Wickstrom. I want to thank the Old School Family Chat Lounge, Ron Romy. I'm going on memory because I had my notes, but I forgot my notes. Massive music funk, just and also of course the Slave civil attack, Starlina Young, Kurt Jones, Steve Arrington, Mr. Mark Adams, the revival and the comeback of Slave 2024 with Mr. Floyd Miller and Mr. Thomas Lockett, who's locking it up doing the rebirth of Slave, man. Looking forward to seeing them, and we're going to be talking with the slave expert who I call Doug Ramsey, but I call him Dr. Doug R&B Ramsey. Dr. Doug R&B Ramsey. And we had another special guest that you heard earlier from the top at the beginning of this when he was talking about Pride and Prejudice, Mr. Dan McCullum. So we got some good shows coming up, and of course, Mr. Lamar Webster. Coming to the mic right now, man, is a very important dude in my life, man. This brother, man, talk about B3 organ, piano, Fender Rhodes, any kind of keyboard. This guy's a master. Um, when I was in my little moment in 1990, I was in my little moment, man. I ran into this brother, but I ran into him before I had my little moment because I was hanging with a friend of mine at that time by the name of Mr. Bill Nunn. Bill Nunn, he, for some of you who may be familiar with him, he was in Do the Right Thing. He played Radio Raheem. He was Robbie Robertson in Spider-Man, in the Spider-Man movies. Big, tall dude. He was in Regarding Henry. He got like a big, huge UPS truck head. He got a big ass head. And that's Bill Nunn, man. This brother got more face than he needs to have. But that's my man. We used to love to snap on each other, man. Bill Numbers a classic. And this brother I'm about to bring to the mic, man, he played with the Tams out of Detroit. And for me, at my age, when he got with Hamilton Bohannon, that was it for me. And just to know this brother's work and to know what he's done, it's a pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, Atlanta's own, homemade from scratch, Mr. Mose Davis. How are you, sir?
Hello.
How you doing,
Hello.
my man?
I am fine. How are you, my brother?
Man, I'm trying to maintain. It's a pleasure to have you here at the Funk Lounge Talk Theater show. And
likewise.
Yes. And you can also check out Mose on Truth and Rhythm. That's a really good show, man. But Dr. GX, Scott Goldfine. This guy, man, you talk about going to the archives. Scott is a deep dude. This brother, this white Jewish dude is off the chain. He goes to the archives. Okay, Jewish people are something else. When they love us, they get down with it. Okay, My man be having the bonus track of What You Love. My man
That's
got,
what I'm talking
he
about.
got the 12-inch of What You Don't Have. He got it. But check out Truth and Rhythm. A really good show, man. He has all of our favorite artists. If you are a person like me that came up, came up in the 70s, you was a young person in the 70s, that was your time. He's talking to your heroes. And this is one of mine, man, Mose Davis. Mose, let me ask you, brother, they're going to find you out on Truth and Rhythm, so I'm going to bring you in my world because there's so much. You said a lot of good things on that show. But on this platform, I want to ask you, what year did you come to Atlanta, Georgia?
74.
74?
1974.
And give me your take then. Like, how was the nightclub life? Like, when you came, like, what was happening when you came to Atlanta? Yeah, and you came from Detroit, correct?
Exactly. And in Detroit, I want to make a correction. You said I played with the Tams, but I played with the Counts.
I'm sorry, embarrassing. I meant the song, but the song was Jan, right?
Jan, right.
Jan, my fault. Okay, my not no damn.
What's up front that counts, you know?
You're far from the damn. You're far from the doggone Tams. My fault.
Thank you.
That's like calling you. That's like calling you a member of Doug Clark and the damn Hot Nuts.
Yeah, what kind of food? What kind of food do you think I am? What kind of food?
Man, I stand to be corrected. Excuse me, listening audience. Talking about some doggone Tams. Lord have mercy. But that, Moses was like, Negro, please, I ain't no damn Tam. Okay, can you count, motherfucker? Can you count? The counts, goddamn, they get them damn Tams. Ain't this some shit? Anyway, oh gosh. So anyway, when you came to Atlanta, brother, from Detroit, what was going on? Like, what was happening with you?
Man, like Atlanta, like the clubs, like you could go to the clubs here in Atlanta and find artists like Horace Silver, Oscar Peterson, Ahmad Jamal, Jimmy Smith. All your heavy jazz cats came to Atlanta and played. They were either at Pascal's, which is a real popular black establishment, Pascal's, or either you could go
Auburn.
to oh my gosh, yeah, Auburn Avenue. But you know, all the you had premium jazz guys coming through here. Then you had underground that had your R&B artists, top name artists, and artists that were kind of sliding down from off of the hill that they were on, but still big stars, you know. They would perform in underground. That was your R&B thing. And then you had your local circuit, which had top-notch local acts going on, R&B acts, jazz acts. Then you had your after-hour places where when everything shut down, you go to the after-hour places, and when you come out of there, it's daylight. So, in other words, Atlanta was happening.
Yes.
You know, other than the night scene, the streets were lined with trees. It was before this explosion, you know, that happened with all the buildings and all this, and the growth of Motown, of Buckhead and all that.
Yeah, but hold on. Let's not go there, because this is very, very important. Because you're a Bible. This is very deep. Check this out. Let's stay here for a minute. I don't want to go. Yeah, I don't want to go to the explosion, man, because people need to know the story of Atlanta. Especially when it comes to being a black musician at that time, because that's what this show was about. This show was about educating all kind of people: white, black, East Indian, African, no matter what color. They need to know about the other Black America before Thug Life, Section 8, Belly to the Pavement, Hair Weaves, and Bounce That Ass Up, and Our Nigga, I'll Kill You. They need to know about the other Atlanta before the flip. Let me ask you, Mr. Davis, back in the 70s, I mean, and let me say this too, in life, everything must change. You can unplug the clock, but time keeps going, tick-tock, tick-tock. Everything must change. But at the same time, while things change, we have to talk about the travesty, the cultural musical genocide in the change that has never been discussed only the way we do it here at Funk Lounge Talk Theater. That's why you are a Bible, because you were there. Mr. Mose Davis, in your time back in the 70s, from 74 on up, how was it being a black musician at that time? Talk to me, in Atlanta, man.
Oh man, well, I was treated like royalty. I could play a Hammond organ. The organ was appreciated as a jazz instrument. I got top-notch jobs. I met Bernadine Mitchell, Vinnie O'Neill,
Liz Spraggins, Teresa
Liz
Hightower.
Lands, Teresa Hightower. We're jumping ahead again, and you didn't want to do that.
Okay, my fault. Sorry.
Hamilton Bohannon. Hamilton Bohannon was, he was born here, and he had recently left for Detroit, but it was his home, and it was just nice to be down here. It was a clean city, a little bit of crime, but crime is everywhere. But it was a nice. Leaving Detroit, coming here was the best thing that I could have ever done. And Atlanta was like that, really nice.
And let me ask you, at that time, Mr. Mose Davis, how was those Georgia peaches looking back then?
Oh man!
My man had a flash. My man had a flashback.
Oh. Well, let me just say they were well fed.
Let me
with
tell
the
you
right
something.
food.
Let me tell you something. Black women in the South in the 70s, 80s.
But let me fix that. They were well fed and well fed mentally.
Yeah, you said mentally.
Mentally.
They were
and physically.
And you know what? Let's go with the mental part.
Mm-hmm.
Nice conversation.
Nice conversation.
Sweet.
Natural.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Clean.
Yes, sir.
Can cook.
Mm-hmm.
And don't let her make a lemon meringue pie.
Don't.
Don't.
Or throw a curve and put that pound cake on you with some vanilla ice cream.
And then after that is Betty Bye.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Bedtime.
But before that, she told them turnip greens and cornbread and fried. Mm-hmm.
Some fish.
Oh, yeah.
Biscuits, butter.
Oh, man, stop.
Macaroni and cheese.
No.
That damn Velveeta.
Mm-hmm.
Cornbread.
Mm-hmm.
And she stirred the batter with her pretty feet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Don't get me started. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, beautiful. I mean, you know what? Black women in the 70s and 80s, they were like a muse. They were a muse for the musician.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what's some of the places you played, man? Like, what are the special places you played when you knew you were in your groove? You were like, man, you like, when you talk quietly to yourself when you're happy about something.
Well, you're talking Atlanta. When I came here, I was a funk artist, and I was all about the funk, and meeting Bernadine Mitchell and all of those kind of people. I got to experience really playing jazz for the first time, even though people consider me a jazz artist.
Because in
funk.
Detroit, you was doing strictly R&B, right?
Strictly R&B. I didn't play any jazz clubs at all. It was, we had a big name and we played our own original stuff. Here in Atlanta, they didn't know me that way, so I had to, play like things like My Funny Valentine, all them kind of things, working with Bernadine Mitchell, Wind Beneath My Wings. So, and then I noticed that Bern and I had got to where we were playing in the top-notch 5-star rooms. And I looked around, and the place full, my picture in the paper. I said, hey, this is all right here. And it was Atlanta. Atlanta has been very good to me,
Wow.
Especially back then,
Okay, so you come to Atlanta in 1974.
Right.
Do you remember some of the happening local bands that you remember, like people like Maga Brain, Celebrity Ball? What's any bands
Uh,
you remember at that time that was local and happening?
Not really,
Mm.
because at that time, like in '74, I was still a recording act, so I didn't really get out. You know, the
Oh, I
counts were
got you.
still
I got
happening,
you. Right. So
and
you wasn't in the local scene
no, I wasn't really into the local scene at that
at
time.
that time.
You know, hmm
So
but
go ahead.
go ahead.
No, go ahead, brother.
But that, so I didn't, I knew, like the top notch jazz musicians would come through town, so I got to meet them, the Jimmy Smiths and all of that, because of Pascals and all that. So I got to meet people I didn't really meet in Detroit. I met them here. Hmm
Wow. Wow.
hmm
How about that? How about that?
hmm
So, when did you meet Mr. Hamilton Bohannon? Like what location? What happened?
Oh, I met Hamilton in Detroit.
Oh, you met him in Detroit.
Yeah, we were kind of at the top of our game. The Counts were at the top of their game,
Cause
and
was he playing drums for Motown at that time?
yeah, he was, and he had met Stevie Wonder that way, and he brought Stevie Wonder to a club that we were playing at, and the Counts, by this time we had kind of cooled off a little bit, and we were playing as a trio in a nightclub, and Hamilton would bring Stevie to hear us. And I didn't know Hamilton at that time. I always call him Bo, by the way. So I didn't know Bo at that time, but my guitar player, Leroy knew him. So he would come in to hear us, and he'd talk to Leroy, and Stevie would be there, and he'd listen to us and sit in with us and all of that. So, I met Stevie and Bo at the same time, basically. And but yeah, that was it. That's when I met him. I met him in Detroit, and a little after that, he got a contract with what record company was that?
Mercury.
Not Mercury. It was another label before Mercury.
Westbound.
No. It was in Chicago.
VJ.
Brunswick I think it was Brunswick.
He was on Brunswick because South Africa, I think, was on Brunswick.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but I know it was a Chicago label.
Brunswick.
And after he got caught fire, then he transferred over to that other label.
Mercury.
Mercury. Yeah, he went to Mercury. But yeah, he was Brunswick before that.
Yes.
Don't hold me to Brunswick, but I know it was a Chicago
Well,
label.
I'm going on flashback when I was a kid because I'm good on years and stuff. Yeah. So let me ask you this, bro. For you being you and being with the Counts, because these are your friends, okay, and you're doing your groove and how you do your groove, what was it about Bohannon's groove that you liked? What connected you guys?
His music felt good. His music felt good, and it was just fun. It was a pleasure to play it. It just had a good feel to it. The music is about feeling good.
Right.
I always felt good playing this stuff.
Would you label Hamilton Bohannon's music as disco?
Some of it. Some of it. When he first started, I wouldn't say it was. But he's smart. He's very smart. He's more of a producer, businessman than musician. He's a great musician too, but his businessman, he had his own labels. He had his own what's that word? Masters. He owned his own masters, like Sam Cooke and all those guys back in the day. And they took Sam Cooke out because of stuff like that.
Right.
But
right.
Bo owned his masters. He made his money. He got his money, and and he wasn't stingy with sharing it with the cats. So it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure working with him.
He was that kind of man, huh?
Yeah.
Well, what an unsung hero. What an unsung, because to own your masters at that time is very, very unique.
Very unique. This cat, he was a great businessman. I'll always respect him for his business.
Was he into real estate?
Not that I know of.
Yeah, man. But he what a guy. What and his sound. You know what? For
Hmm.
me, I would give it like a jungle R&B funk groove.
That's good assessment.
Do
Hmm.
you like that one?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, man, because
Hmm.
that's South Africa. Because that when I was like between I think seventh and eighth grade, when I heard that doggone Bohannon walk,
Hmm.
do 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 bum 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 do 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 do.
Hmm.
They go pa do do do. I said, God, ooh, whoa!
Hmm.
You can
Hmm.
walk out with it. You can tat, baby. And man, it was told that back in the day, man, Bohannon when Bohannon performed, they would shut it down.
Hmm.
They said his live concerts was off the chain, man.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I mean, when he was on with the Commodores or Earth, Wind and Fire, they said Hamilton Bohannon held his own.
Hmm.
Was he
Hmm. With
was he
simplicity.
deep into the pocket like that, Mose?
Yeah, it was all about the pocket. Wasn't nothing but the pocket.
Mm,
Hmm.
mm.
Where the other bands, they were heavy into the musicology of it and the harmonies and the vocals and all that. He was into the pocket, you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and letting them guitars run free, you know.
Is it Leroy and Rick?
Leroy and Rick, right?
Man,
And at times Ray Parker and Wah Wah Watson.
R- Ray Ray Parker. That's right. And I remember right Wawa Watson.
Yeah, all them cats played with both.
My goodness. You know
Hmm.
what? You think about it. Bohannon is like a guitar player's musician.
Exactly. Exactly.
Wow.
You
Because
know. Yep.
cause they be scratching, boy. Woo.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Ooh, ooh. So let's start the dance. So you got the Bohannon walk. Man, you got the Bohannon Symphony. You
Foot stomping music.
foot stomping. Let me tell you something, man. I remember, I think it was 1975. I stand to be corrected. I don't Google. I flashback. I don't Google. I use my own mind. Let me tell you
Hmm.
something. When foot stomping music came out, I think it was like 7 to 8 minutes long.
Hmm.
Let me tell you something, man. I was in the South. 'Cause my mother had like a juke joint in the 70s. Because, like, even though I'm a New Yorker, I would visit my mom in the 70s. 'Cause my mom had like two candy stores, and she was a booking agent.
Okay.
Oh yeah, my mom is deep. I never told you. I mean, I'm coming out the closet now about my family now. You know, because people want to know that I come from under a rock. Because I never talk about my family. So now that
You don't.
now that I'm an older person, I'm coming out the closet with a lot of my stuff now.
And
But
your dad was an organ
my
player, huh?
dad was a bad organ player. I wish you two guys would have got together, man. Man, if I had my brain that I have now, you guys would have did an album together. It would have been totally monster, Jimmy Smith
Hmm.
style, Jack McDuff kind of stuff. You know.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But let me tell you, brother. Foot stomping music. Let me tell you something, brother. In the South, in the juke joints, man, when they had those jukeboxes, they put a quarter in for that record, brother. That foot do do dum do dum do dum do do dum do dum do 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 rock.
Boy, you
Dum.
got that down, Rick.
Oh man, I ain't got over it. I ain't got over it. I have not. I have never gotten over that stuff, man, because it had an effect on me.
That intro was very intricate, and I heard you hum it just like that, complete with the bass drum. That's amazing.
He said,
That's amazing. I'm very impressed.
thank you,
Very
brother.
impressed.
Oh, well,
Yes, sir.
well. Speaking of being impressed, Mose, when did you and I first meet?
We met in Atlanta. I think I was doing a show with Bernadine Mitchell,
Mm-hmm.
and if I'm not mistaken, was it Walter Mitty's?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And you came up. A lot of people would come up with compliments and all that. But you come up talking about what I had done and who I played with. And I said, "Ooh, this cat's serious,"
Right.
And it just grew from there. We just became friends.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let me tell you,
Mm-hmm.
man. When the Comedy Act Theater opened in 1990, you guys were playing at the Parrot.
Mm-hmm.
And I would bring Steve Harvey sometime. I got pictures of all of us: Steve Harvey, Jamie Foxx, Joe Torre. I would bring the comedians to the club after after we do comedy. It's funny. I would always go to a music place after I performed doing comedy. I would go straight to the Parrot. I just wanted to be around musicians. I don't like to hang around comedians. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I because in real life I'm serious. Man, let me tell you something. Here's what gave me a nervous breakdown when I saw you again. Cause I met you at Walter Mitty's, but then as time went on, you began to work at the Parrot.
Mm-hmm.
Man, when I saw this is when my funk prophecy came to be. When I saw you and Jimmy Brown together with your jazz trio with Marcus Williams on drums,
Mm-hmm.
I had an out of body experience because I said, wait a minute, that's Mose Davis who played with the Counts and Hamilton Bohannon. And that's Jimmy Brown from Brick. Daz, It Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody. Push. Living from the Mind.
Mm-hmm.
Duzik. I said that man plays flute and sax. I said, man, if I can get
and trombone.
And a trombone too, and a trombone. This man,
That's right.
He's a serious horn player.
Mm-hmm.
He's very horny with the horn, okay?
Right on.
And man, let me tell you something. I said to myself, man, one day I'm gonna do something with them. And then fast forward in 1992, I meet my other funk hero, Mark Adams from Slave. Mark I mean, this guy, Mark Adams. Let me tell you something. Mark wasn't doing that well back then. He was going through a record label. He was with Ichiban. He was going through and he was trying to get a new slave going. But I'm going to tell you, man, here's what was scary about that time, meeting Mark. A group like Slave, and this is my opinion, this is me talking, the True to Funk Prophet, Funk Jam artist Rex talking this. Slave is a very unique band because they're like funk, rock, jazz, and pop. And at that time, when he was trying to get that back together, it was like no hope because that was the beginning, and they were right in the threshold of New Jack Swing, rap, thug life. But Tupac is cute now. Women love Tupac now. They ain't think about no damn Mark Adams or no damn Kool in the Gang. Just go to Vegas and do a residency somewhere. Or go to Bob's Burger Pit and use their lounge. Okay? At that time. And so Mark was going through it. Then Mark had some little issues too. He had some stuff going on. And he was at this bullshit hotel, man. And do you know Sophia White, who sung background for Peabo Bryson?
Maybe.
You might know her, man. Sophia's deep. She been with Freddie Jackson. She been with everywhere. But she's like my sister. She's a good friend of mine. She looked like Natalie Cole, and can sing. Her and her mother Linda, when they sing, they can knock it out the park. Don't let them start singing. You understand me? Well, she know I'm the true funk prophet. She said, Rex, I got a surprise for you, because she knows everybody. She turned me on to Blue from the Manhattans and all that, right?
Okay.
She said, Rex, I got a surprise for you. I said, who? She said, Mark Adams from Slave. Man, brother, I did backflips, splits. This is my hero.
Okay.
So when I saw him, he was looking good, but you can tell he was going through that. You know, it ain't Slave no more. He's trying to get it going, and you can tell that he's caught up in a black musical genocide. Yeah. That not just him, just a lot of musicians. Yes. I mean, because don't forget, he's a funk rock artist. See, now if I was his manager back then, using my mind I had now, I would totally take him to Oregon around white people, take him to Alaska. With the kind of music he does, you got to get around white kids, because they'll get it, because Slave has a lot of rock in it. Because with a black audience, we play out quick. You can't, with no guarantee. We complain. Hey man, it don't sound the same. We are a horrible audience. I said it. Get mad at me. Mose didn't say it. I said it. I said it. We are horrible. Or we can make you feel bad. We can make artists feel real. We can make artists give up.
We make artists go to London,
Thank
England,
you. France,
and be treated like queens and
okay.
kings.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. That's what we do. Not white people, not Jewish people, not Italian people. No, us. Not Mexicans, not Latinos, not Chicanos, not Dominicans, not Puerto Ricans. Us. Not Africans, not Ethiopians, not midgets, not dogs. Us. We do that to each other. We're horrible. And if I had the mind I had now, I would have them go to Oregon, Utah, and get those young white kids like Kurt Cobain, Smells Like Teen Spirit, David Grohl from the Foo Fighters. They would love Mark Adams. Because don't forget, Mark Adams is like 3 minutes away from heavy metal. The way he plays that bass.
Yeah.
Right. He's not that. I mean, Anthrax and Cope. I mean, those groups, man. He's almost Pearl Jam. A Linkin Park level. That those kind of. He's almost there. So when he was in Atlanta, man, it was deep. But I said, hey, Mark, man, I had him stay with me for 2 weeks. That's all. I can just do 2 weeks. And then I paid him very well to do the session because I knew what he was going through. And that's how the Cold Funk House Jam came to be. So I got you, Mose Davis from Hamilton Bohannon, Jimmy Brown from Brick, and Mark Adams from Slave playing at the Cold Funk House Jam. Can you please give me your Cold Funk House Jam experience, Mose Davis, since you were there, kind sir?